Hey Flute friends, it's Dr. Eiben here with the help video on Etude number 3 A major for the TMEA 2020-2021 All-State Flute auditions. So you're watching this video maybe because you're stuck and you need some help, so I'm hoping to offer you some tricks and some help today. Let's get started. If you see my other videos, you know how big I am on flexibility exercises. Flexibility is such an important fundamental of flute playing just because it can affect so many things. If you're not playing where you're very flexible and you're not very relaxed, that can affect your tone quality, your tuning, it can even affect your articulation. The list goes on and on. And so this is so important to practice this before you dive into your etude. You see here at the bottom, it shows air and this long arrow. So that's just telling you to think about keeping your air consistent as you play, meaning it's just moving fast. Some people tend to back off with the air a lot as they go higher. So that's just reminding you to keep the air consistent and fast, and then to change the direction of your air by changing the placement of your lips. So as your lips move forward, the air goes more across the hole and you're able to play a higher pitch. And then as you change your lips back to the original position, the airstream is going to go lower, allowing you to play lower notes with a really full sound. And so that's what you're aiming for on every single note. You're trying to get a full resonant sound while changing these notes smoothly and maintaining good tuning. If you watched my help video on Etude number 2, C sharp minor, I mentioned how important it is to try to incorporate some kind of a harmonic exercise along with the included flexibility exercise. So for this video, I decided to include a discussion on harmonics. So a harmonic is created whenever you're playing one note and using that real fingering, and then you're able to change the direction of your air and play a higher note without changing the fingering. That's exactly what you're going to do in this exercise. So in the first measure, you're playing a G, and then you slur up to the D. Now notice it has this little circle on top of it, so that's indicating that you're going to play a harmonic. So you play these two notes without changing the fingers at all. And don't worry, the second note harmonic is not going to have necessarily the prettiest sound, and it's also not going to be in tune. But that's not the point of the exercise here. The point is that you're playing these notes and you're only focusing on that flexibility fundamental of changing the direction of your air smoothly. And then in the second measure, you're going to go ahead and use the real fingerings, but you're going to do the exact same thing with the air and with the lip movement. But now you are going to try to play both of those notes in tune with a really good sound and with the regular fingering. Okay, just like in my other help videos, I included some articulation practice along with the technique exercises. So here I've included 3 different articulations that you're going to see in the A major etude, and then I have you apply those same 3 articulations to the following technique exercises. So I have 3 technique exercises here, and I have 3 articulations. So change them up however you like. The way I'm going to play them for you today is I'm going to use articulation A on our 2-octave A major scale. I'm going to use articulation B on our A major thirds and articulation C on our arpeggio patterns. We can take another look at those articulations right here. So our first articulation, articulation A, is every group of 4 notes you will slur to tongue to. So ti-ya, ta-ta, ti-ya, ta-ta. Letter B is a little bit tricky. That's why I included 2 measures here. So you're going to tongue the very first note, and then you're going to slur the next 4 notes. But every note that you're going to tongue in the group of 4 is going to be the second note after that. So that pattern kind of continues. That's actually a pretty tricky articulation right there, and that's why I wanted to include it, because you will see that in your etude. And then letter C, you're simply just going to slur everything. Okay, and now we're going to dive into the etude. First group of measures that I chose was just the very beginning of the etude, measures 1 through 4. And again, if you've seen my other help videos, you know that I'm really big about practicing subdivision before you play what's actually written. So what I've done here is I've taken measures 1 through 4, but I've written out everything as if it was all 16th notes. So throughout these measures, I really believe that you should be subdividing 16th notes the whole time, especially in the ties. It's very easy. So take a look at measure 1. This is measure 1 through 4 as written. It's very easy, this first tie, to cut it too short, unless you're thinking those 16th notes. So here, I have you playing those 16th notes and then placing all of these notes correctly. So I strongly suggest to practice this first, and then to do it at a slower tempo. So today, I'm going to perform this for you at quarter note equals 60. The down and up arrows are going to indicate the downbeats and upbeats, and so I strongly suggest that you have your 8th note subdivision turned on so it's easier to line up the rhythm. Once you get really comfortable with that, then you're ready to go ahead and to apply it to what's actually written. Okay, so now I'm going to play it for you as written, once at quarter note equals 60 with an 8th note subdivision, and then once that's a lot closer to the performance tempo, it's going to be quarter note equals 110. our next group of tricky measures is going to be measures 13 through 15. The reason I chose these measures to demonstrate is because you're having to change different subdivisions quickly. So we talked about this a lot in the C# minor help video if you've already watched that one. So this is a little bit easier, I think, than that as far as how you're having to switch subdivision quickly, but it's still good to practice. So you're having to switch between groups of 4 and groups of 3. So again, anytime you have to deal with subdivision like that, I strongly suggest to just turn your metronome on and practice doing it on a single note while articulating. And so you're just practicing the way you're dividing the beat in your head and how you're thinking of it. And then it makes it so much easier whenever you try to apply it to the actual music. Once you feel really comfortable with that, then I would immediately go ahead and practice measures 13 through 15 as written while you have that subdivision in your head fresh on your mind. Okay, so I'm going to play 13 through 15 3 times for you. The first time, I'm going to tongue the subdivision, the 16th note subdivision, on the quarter notes and on the tie. The second time, I will play it as written at a practice tempo of quarter note equals 60 with the 8th note subdivision turned on. And the third time will again be closer to that performance tempo at quarter note equals 110. The last group of measures I'm going to talk to you about today is measures 19 through 22. The reason I chose these measures is they're just very technically demanding, very challenging, and if you've worked on these already, you already know what I'm talking about. I'm going to be very honest, when I did the performance video, I had to do a couple of more takes just because of these measures, and so they can be quite challenging. And so what I've done is I've taken those measures and I've broken them down in a way that makes it easier to practice. So on line A, all I've done is I've taken it one beat at a time. So this is the first beat, and I have you play it twice. And then the second group is the second beat, and I have you play it twice. And notice that you're ending on the note that you start on with the next group. And so it's just taken that really technical section and it's divided it by one beat. I suggest to start practicing this around quarter note equals 60 with the 8th note subdivision. And the first time I play that for you, that's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to play each of these sections for you at 2 different tempos, a practice tempo and then a closer performance tempo. So line B does 2 beats at a time with the rest in between. And what this does, the reason I think this is such a great way to practice is because you're practicing small chunks of it, and that's good. But at the same time, you have a little bit of a rest, you have a little bit of a break, and that just gives you a moment to just sort of reset and think. And when you're dealing with technique that's this challenging, you need that. So that's why it's so important to just break this down. So I wouldn't even try to play these measures as written until you've broken them down like this. And that's okay. I had to practice it that way too. It's okay. It's no reason to fret over that. Okay, and then in line C, I have you do it one measure at a time. So notice I'm slowly having you build this up. And then again, here's those little moments of rest that allow you to reset and have that think time. And then you finally can put it all together. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoy making these videos, and I hope that you find this information to be helpful and valuable. Remember, if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about or anything on that PDF, please feel free to email me. My email is below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel and look for more help videos throughout this semester. And I'll be posting more videos on flute fundamentals and more help videos on the all region music, just so that we can practice together throughout this semester. I know that many of you are at home and you're not able to maybe meet with your flute teachers or your band directors in person. And so my hope is to give you a little bit of virtual help this semester. Thanks again.